In order to gain the optical illusion on these, looking at this, I mean, you have kind of something flowing. You got your darker lines in here. It is looking like, it's starting to move outward just based on the curves that you're using. The same one for this, and I'm just covering up the center section so you could just see the lines themselves. You'll notice that it's really gonna bring it to life, the more that you add in. I recommend with this one making every other color different. Now you can make it a like rainbow and just make them different. Like maybe one of them you want to do blue and green, and the next one you want to do pinks and purples. You could do that, but I would alternate the color for every section. The same thing kind of for this one. I went in and I used a lot of different blues, but I would try to keep it every other one a different color. If you don't want to, and you want to maybe try on one of your like little scrap pieces, your little sketch pieces, you can do that and I'll show you what that looks like as well. It's all about the shading technique for this and how it's going to overlap. So I think you could see how it's darker around the edges and lighter around the top. That's what we want to do. But we want to hold our pencils a very specific way in order to get that. You guys all have a pencil sharpener in your kit. You're going to want to make sure that your pencils are nice and sharp before you go in and do this. I'm going to start on a larger section so that you guys could see it a little bit better. And I'm going to start from both ends. And I'm going to go in and I'm using my pencil from the side. Let me tilt it so that you could see a little bit better. And I'm pressing fairly hard with my colored pencil. I'm gonna now go in and do the other side. And this is gonna be your darkest section. And the reason you want it to be your darkest section is because that's where your marker is the darkest. And then we're gonna develop a highlight over this here. We're gonna gradually make it lighter. And in order to make it lighter, it's not like paint where we're mixing a color and adding white. We're going to gradually apply less pressure as we go up. And the very center should be the lightest part. I'm going to now bring this into it as well. And then I'm going to gradually lighten it until it matches the color on the top. So you could see that starts to really affect how the curve is going to be. I'm going to do a few more on this one, but it's all about using your pencil in a rounded motion. So let's go in with this blue color. And one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to just make it really dark and then really dark and then just kind of color the whole thing in light. We want to make sure that we're blending it. Sometimes a mistake people will make is that they'll do really dark up to like a certain point and then they'll just color this all in the same color. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're slowly blending it. I like to do both sides dark first, so then I know I could meet the center really nicely. Using your pencil from the side is going to really help you shade. You don't want to have, really dark pencil marks. And then I'm just lightening it up as I get to the center. using my pencil on the side. And the center should almost be ever so slightly colored in. And you could gradually go in and adjust this if you feel like it needs to be darker in some areas, but it should all blend really nicely together. You'd never want to have a part where it like cuts off and then is just light in the middle. So we want this to really blend together. And you could see that's already kind of starting to blend. You definitely can tell better on my camera that I'm filming on. It picks it up a little bit better. And then I'm gonna go in with, let's do a darker green. I'm gonna just kind of keep this one within the blue and green color scheme. If you wanna just do, say like red and pink for the whole entire thing, you could do that. I like to just really experiment when I'm drawing different things. And sometimes I'll get bored if I'm doing the same color. So I'm just darkening it up around the edges, but I broke my pencil. All right, hold on. I'm just gonna go in with this green then. Similar enough. So I have my two dark edges. I applied those with really pushing down quite hard with my pencil. And then slowly using my pencil kind of in a rounded way and using the side. And then we're gonna switch it and we are going to bring it over the other way. I hope you guys could see this okay. Having like a white desk is not ideal for like demonstrating drawing on. I feel like it mutes the paper out a little bit. And then just very lightly there. I think you could kind of start to see how it's coming together a little bit more. And the darker you make it on the edges, the more the illusion's really gonna pop out. But you still wanna have it nice and blended. Okay. Let me add in, maybe I'll add in a yellow. We'll just do one yellow and then I'll switch to the next illusion. I'm gonna go in really dark with the yellow. Same thing where it lines up. And I usually like to pick a starting point so I know that it's gonna go like to the next color rather than kind of going all over the place. It makes it easier. If you guys wanna pick a specific color scheme, you can. You could do all warm colors, which are, you know, your yellows, reds. Some people will consider pink a warm color. Orange. Could do whatever you want. And okay, yeah, there we go, nice and clear. And you could see how that starts bringing like the illusion really together, how a bunch of really interesting colors, just making sure that it's much darker towards the edges, gradually building towards the center lightly. That's our tower one. The floral one is going to be very similar. Very similar. Okay. Same exact thing. Starting really dark, flipping it, neat with these. You spent so much time on the line work, make sure you're really neat with the shading. And then I'm kind of just gradually blending that out. And can you see kind of like how my pencil's making a movement going in an arched direction? And it's all about the amount of pressure that you're applying. I'm just gonna do one more color on here. And this is just a little bit lighter of a red. You'll see that, like, you know, if you're switching colors every time, it does bring the effect more together. However, I have had students in the past just shade it with just like a black colored pencil or a traditional pencil, and they came out quite interesting as well. But like for this, I could just do red, lighter red, red, lighter red, red, lighter red for the whole entire thing if I wanted to. So pick your favorite color and keep that in mind. So I hope that makes sense, kind of, you know, making sure that you're shading it on the angle. Our final one are these little tubes or webbing. This one is where it really makes a difference with switching colors. You really want to make sure that everything lines up right and that you are changing your color every one. The reason I went in and just started doing every other right away was so that it made it easier in the end for me to decide what I wanted to do. All right, I'm gonna go in with, maybe I'll do some reds and oranges just so you guys can see like really drastically the difference. Same exact thing. All right, I'm gonna line up where I did my blue, this color right here. Now, I don't know if I really would pick this color, but I think it'll help you guys see a little bit better. These sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to go in and see the shading, so I want to make sure it's really going to stand out because we're going to kind of first color in these corners. And then go in and do the same technique, but you'll kind of notice I'm really working my pencil, going like that, and then adding more shading in. So you never want to have it look like this. Here, I'll show you. You never want to have it look like that, just really dark and then light. You want to make sure that it's blended, and that all has to do with the amount of pressure that you're applying with your pencil. I'm barely grazing it over the part that's more center. And then I have more of a mid-tone. And you can play around with it as you need to, but it's better to start out lighter. It's better to start out lighter and then build it darker. Because this lines up with my blue, I'm gonna go in for the next one. Sometimes people will just do like green and blue, so they'll do like green here, blue there, green here, blue there, and then vice versa. But I'm gonna just line up this one a little different so I could show you guys if you're doing different colors. So I'm creating it really, really dark. really dark over here. And this is gonna really kind of set you guys up for when we start our drawing exercises, because you're gonna have practice going from like dark to light within shading. And then I'm gonna gradually blend it together. And I'm just lightly grazing my pencil towards the middle and then blending. Blend, blend, blend. And you could see that that's really picking up. And I'll post this, I'm filming it as well. That's why I keep like moving back and forth. I'm going to go in and use the orange next. And this one is just the opposite. However, because it's the one that's going over and not under, this one's really gonna be what pops it out. I'm gonna go in with my orange and I'm just gonna kind of color around like that. And I'm almost outlining this slightly. Now that I have my outline, I'm gonna go in and I'm going to gradually shade this in. And I just like to go in nice and light with almost like this U-shaped pattern. Then go ahead in and add a little bit more darker. So this is the only one that's slightly different because the shapes are a little bit smaller. I like to just go in light and then add the dark in later, and you could see that that really starts to pop. Like I said, I don't think these are ideal colors. I just picked random. So I'm gonna go in, I'll do this one more, and then I'll leave you guys off to shading. Gonna go in and I'm just gonna outline it a little bit. And then outline this section. All right, now I'm just gonna go in very lightly so that I have that little bit of almost just like a white in there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make it darker around the edges. So this is the only one that's just slightly different. We want to have that light in there and then just bring it in darker. It's easier to do it that way because sometimes I find that people, even myself, will get a little bit confused with the lighter part in the center. This way you don't have to go in and like gradually build it. It's naturally light, however a little bit colored in, and then you just adjust it from there. So that's what that starts to look like. I would pick a prettier color scheme than this one, but I wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit more how it really overlapped. Okay, so that is the last one. You have your little floral one right here, and then your tower one here. And I'll go ahead and I will upload this so you guys can watch